to episode 15 of This Weekend Perfect Team, the show that provides instant community feedback on all new content releases. And we only got 5 cards tonight. We only got 5 cards, but each one of them is interesting in their own right. We've got some big ones and some big conversations to have tonight. I'm your host, DRC. And with me, as always, is your Kidneys. How we doing tonight, Kidneys?
Doing great. We got Chuck dropping gift subs in the chat. We got some really interesting new cards tonight. A lot of hype from Chris. We saw a little bit of OTP go there on his phone. It was exciting, dude. I love this.
So are you bringing the hype tonight? I'm feeling it.
I'm bringing the hype tonight. We got Mac Jacks with 10 subs, dude.
Holy cow!
I'm excited, man. I think we got some really cool stuff that, maybe it's not clearly the best cards, but I think they're all playable in their own way. And so I think that we get some meta diversity here, which is great to see.
No spoilers. Let's save it. Save it for the slides. But let me call out Mr. Chuck gifting 5 subs to the channel. Thank you so much. Mac gifting 10 subs to the channel. Thank you a ton. Looks like we had Hitman1798 use Amazon Prime for a free subscription, which anyone else can grab just by using Amazon Prime. And oh my gosh, what is this? Walnuts gifting 20 subs to the channel. Everyone's going to leave tonight a subscriber. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. Just like that, we became a level 5 hype train. That's about the quickest we've ever done that. Man. Holy cow. All right, let's get started. Let's jump in. We got a lot going on. We have a great show for you guys tonight. So we're going to do our card rundown. Again, only 5 cards, but they're big cards. Could have some big conversations and about big impacts for a lot of these cards that we're talking about. So we will definitely jump into that. We're going to play OK Boomer, OK Zoomer tonight. And the theme for the night is 90s icons. I'm going to show Kidneys some people, some famous celebrities from the 90s, and he's going to have to pick them out. I've done my best to make it as easy as possible. Got a nice, dreamy, easy third one for you. So the first 2 might be a little hard, but I like your chances on the third one. And then last, we are finishing out with community hot takes. Maybe my favorite idea for a segment I've ever had. And for this, we went to the community in all the various channels, the main Discord channel, DLL Discord, the DRC Twitch Discord, and asked people to draw their line in the sand. Say something. Say something that you believe about this game to be true that could come across a little hot takey. And we got some really juicy ones, and I can't wait to go through them. I can't wait to work with you to determine which ones have merit and which ones are just garbage. But that should be a ton of fun. And look at this. We got more activity in the chat. I can't turn away. We got Wait Till Next Year gifting 5 more subs. We got Tasty Mint subscribing at Tier 1. Stitch subscribing with Amazon Prime. Thanks so much, guys. You guys rock. All right, let's jump in. Oh, before we do that, just a reminder of the broadcast schedule of the channel. We do this show on Thursdays. On Sundays, I broadcast the Perfect League World Series. On Tuesdays, I do a close-up for one of the members of the Discord community. And next Tuesday, we've got none other than Wait Till Next Year, the gentleman who's kind enough to gift out 5 subs in the channel. And can't wait to talk to him and his silver tournament prowess come Tuesday. Another reminder, sign up for the Discord. Not sign up, just join it. Let me link it in the chat again. All you got to do is jump in. Everyone's welcome. Boom. Hopefully that command works. Looks like it did. Yeah, so in the Discord, we talk game strategy. We talk this. We talk that. I try to post a daily deep dive each day. Today, we had people breaking down what's more important defensively. Second base or a strong side, pull side outfielders, which was a really cool conversation to watch from above. All right, enough pitter patter. Let's jump in. We start with Bruce Sutter, a Cubs card. You know, honestly though, I don't really identify with Bruce Sutter as a Cub. Like, Bruce Sutter's only memory for me is being the opposition in the Sandberg game. When Sandberg homers off him in the 9th, and wait till next show, keep me honest on this one, make sure I get it correct. Homers off him to tie the game in the 9th. Maybe it was the 8th, and then does it again in the ninth to tie it again, and then someone else hit a homer in extras. I don't know. Not having a firm recollection of the Sandberg game might be a cardinal sin, pun intended, as a Cubs fan there. So I'm sure I'll get some junk in the chat. But let's talk about this card. So the first thing I saw when I saw this card was Liam Hendriks. I said, oh, here's another righty reliever, another ground ball pitcher that's going to fit in and do well. This is going to be a pitcher that I can use in my bullpen. And when I went to the similarity scores, Liam Hendriks is tops on all of them. So from a general perspective, he's Liam Hendriks with a little bit more stuff, little bit more movement, losing a little control. And that same narrative follows through to the versus left and versus right. So if you're looking to estimate what Bruce Suter's going to do, I think that's your answer. Look at Liam Hendriks, and Liam Hendriks is a very good pitcher versus right-handed batters and very acceptable versus left. I'm still hearing the chat just blowing up over there. That could be the subscription engine catching up. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. As Wait Till Next Year is linking people to the Sandberg game. Thank you for your help on that. MK Sen subscribing. Yodel named Leo. There we go. I'm catching up now. Yeah, so this is a good card. This is a really good bullpen card. Liam Hendriks. I wouldn't even say Liam Hendriks light. I'd say just another form of Liam Hendriks. And when you're API or Pidge or Jay Malay, and you're looking to cycle through your relievers and keep your guys fresh, having another arm's never a bad thing. But what do you think about this card here, Kidneys?
Suter's interesting. To me, he's just a little bit worse than Hendricks v left, but I actually have him just a little bit better v right, which is sort of interesting given the stat spread. But I think this is just a really good card. It's another Arsenal. Hendricks was already pretty successfully played in Perfect League. So I think this is just another thing you can add to your team pretty safely. And I mean, we're up to like maybe 4 now elite true relief pitchers in the game, maybe 5 if you count Gagne. So I think this is just a great card to add to your arsenal. He's got a decent amount of stamina, and he's just it's got good splits for the pen where he's just really going to be totally elite versus righties. So I like this card a lot.
Yeah, and having enough bullpen arms is something that no one can ever really have. If you're someone who likes to keep things fresh, and when you have that 17-inning game that blows up your pen, you like to go to your reserves and pull someone up, and you got to send someone down for 14 days. You're not going to feel bad about sending down Hendricks for 14 days if you've got Suter to come up in his place. And so I think good bullpen arms are always welcome in the meta, and are always welcome for teams that are cycling arms, and he's going to fit in perfectly there. There were a couple questions in the chat I wanted to address. So the first was, what is this similarity score table? So what this is one of my Excel spreadsheets here that compares this card to the other known cards within the Out of the Park universe, and figures out from a mathematical perspective who the most similar cards are. So for example, if we look at this very top line here, Bruce Suter, the way to read this is, Bruce Suter is Liam Hendriks with 2 more stuff, 2 more movement, and 2 less control. And so that's how you read this. And as we try to ferret out like who's going to lose market share by this card being in the game, assuming it's widely available based on the missions that drop in 21 minutes, I think it would be the Gagne card. Gagne is not that widely used right now, but people still readily use him. But I think that this is just distinctly better than Eric Gagne. I'd rather throw out Bruce Suter than Gagne. And so, if everyone had all the cards, I think Gagne would get less innings as a result of this one.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think Gagne sees a lot of play with this one anymore. Question is going to be, how hard are these missions? What are we looking at for a price point? Have people, already probably trying to spec these missions, in the auction house? So it's going to be interesting to see what these cards come in at when we hit the 10 o'clock mark on the stream and we start seeing what the collections look like and how easy or how hard they are. So I think that's going to probably, estimate how much you see him, but I think he's definitely just a step above Gagne for sure.
Yeah, for these big mission drop Thursdays, we need to get some breaking news music to play over you narrating how those missions are broken down. So that'll be something that we work on for the future. There's another question in the chat about how do they do in Perfect League stats. So I have that for starting pitchers and I have it for hitters. I don't have it for relief pitchers, but it won't be that hard to make it. So that's a good reminder that I've got to code that into my spreadsheet, and I can commit to you that I will do that at some point in the future. All right, let's move on from Suter after we take a look at his expected perfect league performance here. So we expect Suter to be at 3.4 versus right and at 4.28 versus left, which isn't too different than Hendricks himself. Next, we've got Lou Gehrig. And here's a big card here. A lot of blue on your screen. So let's take a step back and let's break this one down. What are we looking at here? What can we expect? So we know Lou Gehrig is a left-handed batter. We also know that he plays first base. So that means who's he coming for? Who is he targeting in the meta? The guy that has been impossible to kill all year long, Roger Connor. He is combatant number 4,112, trying to knock Roger Connor off that versus right platoon spot at first base. And I don't know that he's going to do it. But he's definitely a new challenger. We've got extreme pull profile, fly ball hitter, so maybe that helps alleviate some of the BABIP concerns that I know you're going to talk about here with a card so heavy in power. The eye is good at 107. It's not off the charts good to suggest that he's going to be putting up a gigantic walk rate. And again, we talked a little bit about the BABIP, which with the contact where it is and the power being 30 points above it, that's something that we'll definitely talk about here. The versus left profile, with the contact being where it is, the eye being where that is, and the avoid Ks, that's going to be problematic as well. But what do you think of this one, Kidneys?
The issue is, do we have the Roger Connor killer? So often have we seen card after card come out for first base or a third baseman that can play first base, and everybody's been, oh, this card beats Roger Connor. Roger Connor, go sell your Roger Connor. And nobody's done it. I mean, you see Freeman occasionally being played over Connor. You see him being played sometimes in tandem with Connor. But comparing Gehrig to Connor, their BABIP is almost identical. It's 65 to 64. The difference is Gehrig is going to walk a lot more and hit some more home runs, and Connor is going to strike out a lot less and play better defense. So it's really a pretty interesting dilemma here. I have Gehrig quite a bit better v left, but also a bit better v right, but Connor always outperforms because of those really high Ks, and he's going to hit for better average v right, and v left. The on base is about even, but when you add in slugging, it really heavily favors Gehrig because of that power. So I think this is a really close one. Personally, it's going to be hard for me to ever justify getting rid of Roger Connor with just the most standard stable card he's been. I see some people talking about Boggs in the chat. Boggs, I think, is better than both those cards, but a lot of people don't have access to Boggs, even the highest end whales. And you can also see a lot of people playing him at third base. So I don't really feel like that's a great comparison here. Another card, if you're interested in Freddie Freeman, Freddie Freeman is just obviously a ton worse V left. And I would probably have him better than any of the other two V right.
So the best comparison I'm seeing here is a Yordle named Leo in the chat saying, harkening back to Game of Thrones, and Roger Connor is basically Jon Snow facing the oncoming cavalry all by himself for all the people trying to take his job. And to clarify in the chat, Boggs doesn't beat Connor because Boggs plays third base. So if you're running a lefty cheese, you're putting Boggs at third and you're putting Connor at first. And I think that Mac has a decent argument that Freeman is debatably better than Connor. Freeman will hit better versus right, marginally better. He's going to do so in a much more volatile way. Higher swings up, higher swings down, and then his versus left is just atrocious. I've been keeping track of my Freddie Freeman, and it's almost a fun game each week figuring out which plate appearance versus left will be his first base hit. I actually had a season in the DLL where Freddie Freeman went an entire season not getting a hit versus left. 0 for the season. And so, maybe someone is just wanting to maximize their splits and wanting to say, okay, you know what? He's going to run into some lefty relievers and I don't care. Give me the guy who's going to eke out those 20, 30, 40 more points, OPS versus right, and then you can argue that Freddie Freeman is that guy. But I don't think you can definitively say that anyone has knocked Connor off that first base corner, and I don't think that Gehrig is going to be the one to do it either.
I think if you're platooning first base, right? Maybe you're playing Boggs at third base and you play Hornsby at first base v left. You could potentially, I think Freeman's probably better than Connor in that specific scenario, something like that. As for where this card fits in, I think this card might become the most platoon proof of all the cards, because he has a really steady BABIP versus both sides, and his eye is going to be a little bit better than Connor, but it's really close. All my metrics between the two are really close. It's just probably how much you value that extra power. So maybe if you're somebody like a Quanta Condor, and you like guys like Cal Ripken at third base, you might be playing this card at first base. But I don't know. I'm not entirely sold. I'm somebody who runs lefty cheese, and I run Connor myself, and I don't see this card pushing out Connor. But it's a close one for sure. So again, like I said, I don't know that we got any huge clear favorites tonight, but we have a lot of really close competition that's going to be really interesting to see pan out as this goes on.
Yeah, so let's look at the expected perfect league slash on our Gehrig here. So first, let's focus on versus right. We've got 250, 341, 466. And so as far as how that would relate to Connor, which we've talked about a ton, it's going to be pretty significantly lower on the on-base percentage. I see Connor typically running in the high 350s, low 360s, with good seasons reaching up to 370, but Gehrig is going to take him on the slug. So Gehrig is going to be up in the high 4.6s range here, whereas Connor is typically lower than that. So it could just be a preference type thing. And Roger Connor's going to destroy him on the batting average versus right. And then as we look at versus left, I would say that this triple slash here is probably not too dissimilar from an on-base and average perspective to what you get with Connor, but it's just going to slug a good bit more as well. So I agree with you, Kidneys. I think this is an interesting card, one to consider, but I still think Jon Snow is standing out on the field and yet to be taken down.
I think that's interesting. So for reference, on my sheet, I do have Connor's on base a little bit lower. Obviously, my environment is a little different than Perfect League. It doesn't entirely reflect because it is a model, and I'm not the greatest modeler out there. I'm just a kid trying to do what he can with some numbers. So I think you might see Gehrig actually have the better on base at the end of the day, but certainly the worse average, right?
Interesting. Well, we need to get this guy into Perfect League stat. Someone redeem this right away, get it into Perfect League, and start getting some statistics. So come Sunday on our Perfect League World Series stream, we're going to be able to have some early indication as to what we can expect from this juicy card here. Oh, and I'm gonna call this one my fave too. And this one comes with a little bit of a story. So I was in baseball summer camp, when I was probably 10 or 11 or so. And I was a huge baseball fan, loved baseball statistics. And there was a baseball trivia team by a little segment of the camp where the team that got the most trivia questions right got ice cream. And the question was, how many games is Lou Gehrig's consecutive game streak, which at the time had not yet been broken by Cal Ripken? And I knew the answer to be 2130, but my team, in their benevolent wisdom, submitted the answer of 2100 despite my vehement opposition to it. We lose that question, get that one wrong, and then don't get the ice cream. And I'm still not over it, and I'm craving some custard right now. All right.
That's a rough one, buddy.
Next, we've got Johnny Vandermeer. Holy stuff, Batman. Look at this one. Reverse split lefty starter who's rocking 175 on the stuff versus right-handed batters. So that means it's perfect, right? Deploy this one as your new number one starter. Now, not so fast. We've only got 70s control here. 75 versus right, 74 versus left. I don't think we have any card doing well in the meta today that low. Maybe Newhouser. No, Newhouser's got better control. So the control is really the big concern here. Now, this is a starter card, and it's going to be deployed in the pen, unless Kidneys is going to argue otherwise here. And so that means we're going to get a boost as we go to the pen. So for anyone unfamiliar, if you take a starter card and you move it to the pen, then the game engine will look at their pitch value, so how dominant are their pitches, and they look at their velocity, and they apply a stuff boost. So that 175 versus right number is going to go up. Now, how far is it going to go up, and will that increase be meaningful enough to make this a must-own card? Now, given that the velocity is only 90 to 92, I don't see a gigantic, crazy stuff boost here getting us over 200. But I do think it'll be good. The pitch values are strong here. There's only 3 pitches. So we're probably talking about maybe 190 versus right, maybe 186, 87 versus left. But what do you think of Vandermeer and how this one's going to fit in?
I think Chris, with his prediction on stream of 190, 192, was spot on. I don't know if that was actually a prediction or if he was reading some numbers, but it's very spot on in my opinion of what you probably see out of this card. The question is, what does this card do, and how do you compare it to like other cards that we've had before? And honestly, it's a lefty that has really bad versus left split. If it had his V right split, I think both sides, I'd be a lot more encouraged about this card. Really comparing it, the only closest comparison we have to Van Mungo is a right-handed pitcher. And that's kind of rough to compare a lefty to a righty. So I don't really know what to do there. Van Mungo, though, with a similar control mark, does not play. He just walks through many batters to be really that playable. The thing is with this card, which I think makes it interesting, is it's a lefty with reverse splits. And its stuff is so high as a starting pitcher, V right. The highest I think we have is Van Mungo, and Van Mungo is only 156. So I'm really interested to see what this card does in a lower league, right? Because it's absolutely going to blow everyone out of the water. I mean, you're going to get Rocket Man 15 strikeout games left and right. But is this something that changes how the caps work? Now, if you know a little bit, you've watched our stream before, or you're just a really good player at the game, you know that everything is kind of relative, right? So it's not that he has 175 stuff. It's that he has the number one stuff in the game. He will be the best strikeout pitcher V right. Well, not maybe V right, but V left probably, right? As a starting pitcher. So the question is that enough to make up for the low control, right? I see this card. Are the missions out? BFIP says he's 187, 193 in the pen, which is pretty much spot on to what I expected. So I don't really know where you fit this card. Maybe I'm sure people will try it as a rotating option in Perfect League. Missions are out, sweet. So I'll go look at those in a second. But I think he starts in pretty much every gold league and below really well. But I don't know if he starts higher than that.
It's a fair question. My gut instinct just says the control's too bad. That this is a high risk, high reward type deployment. Anytime, any place. Starter, reliever. If you want to gamble with someone who's going to strike out 14 per 9 and walk 7 per 9, be my guest. But he's not going to be my preferred guy in any deployment.
All right, so we have missions. The first one for Nap Lahoy is 40% of the time it works. It is people that have hit 400 or better. We have 2 times no-no. Johnny Vandermeer is people who have thrown no-hitters twice. Iron Man for Gehrig is, of course, people with the most consecutive games played. And then we have Bombs Away for Barry Bonds is home run hitters. Probably at some certain benchmark, people with the most home runs. And Closing the Door is Bruce Sutter. And if I had to guess, looking at all these great closers here, it's probably something like 250, 300 saves. So get out there. They don't actually look too particularly hard. Sutter looks really easy. I think you can do this with all gold cards. Maybe no, 1 diamond card or 3 diamond cards. That's pretty easy, honestly, for Suitor. We're looking at Barry Bonds is 13 cards. So you would need a lot of Bonds is very expensive. That is, I think, 7 diamond cards. Looking at Gehrig, we got 14 cards. So Gehrig actually looks really. Can you do Gehrig without a diamond card? Can somebody confirm you can do Gehrig without a diamond card in the chat? Because I'm looking at this right now and it looks like it to me. And yeah, what's his face? Bonds is 7 diamonds if you have 2 postseason golds. So that's a very hard. Do you need 1 diamond then for Gehrig?
Looks like 2 to
you
me.
Need 3? Okay, somebody's saying 3.
Yeah,
but
3.
If it's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
I mean, if you did Face of the Franchise, there's a decent chance you probably already got a couple of those diamonds locked.
Yeah, as well. Vandermeer is a postseason gold and a lot of diamonds, so he's going to be kind of hard. I think he's 4 diamonds and a postseason gold. And then for Nap is all diamonds or better. And you need 8 of them. So,
can I hear you pronounce his name again?
I heard it was La Jolla from somebody else, so you can blame Chris or whoever else that was. So
I actually don't know if that's right or wrong. I just liked hearing it.
Yeah, La Jolla.
All right, so expected perfect league FIP on this Johnny Vandermeer. We got 3.81 versus left. So even though the back of card ratings are better versus right, the inherent splittiness of the batters are going to make his observed perfect league statistics still be better versus left. And we're looking at an expected perfect league FIP versus right of 5.61.
Apparently it's pronounced Lazoe.
Loa?
Not La Jolla. No, it's Lazoe. I'll post in the chat. This is how it's supposed to be pronounced according to the article I found on Google.
Wow. Lazoe. I'll just focus on his first name because it reminds me of Naperville.
Sure.
Nape Lazoe. I'm pretty sure Wait Till Next Year told me that that's who Naperville was named after. Not related. No relation to Nap Lazoe.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's talk about Nap. We've really gone off the rails here. And as we talk about Nap, look at the crazy contact. Holy cow. Against both sides. 125 versus his same side. That's got to be a game best. Same side contact to 125. There's no way that there's someone in the game beating that. And then on his offhand there, 128 contact. So you love that. And let's work our way down the profile there. The power's not too high, which means that I can almost certainly bet you Kidneys is going to be talking Babbitt, 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 Babbitt in a moment's notice here. Now, where you're going to start to feel a little itchy is the I in the avoid K. It's a very low I for high-level play. He's not going to be giving you a ton of walks to juice up the on-base percentage, and he's going to strike out a fair bit. 77 is pretty low in comparison to the other cards in play at this point, so that's a problem. Base running wise, he's going to give you some decent value there, probably around a league average base runner, maybe slightly better. So you can expect roughly around 0, maybe a little bit better, plus BSR in a given year. And then defense, look at the glove similarity score. His number 1 comp is Mark Belanger. This is your new shortstop. Deploy him every day, right, Kidneys?
Yep, that's how that works.
No, it's the wrong Belanger. It's the 75 Belanger. So he's not quite shortstop level defense with only 98 range. He's not quite second base defense, depending on how much of a glove aficionado you are. So you might be looking at a third base deployment here from a defensive alignment perspective. Kidneys, talk to me about Nap Lazoe.
Man, every time I go to pull cards, I tell people I'm going to pull a Mark Belanger, and then I pull the iron one, and they get really, really mad with me when I start celebrating over it. This card is nuts, I think. This is like your dream third base defense coupled with a whopping 99 BABIP. What that means is this card is looking like it's going to hit 280 V left and maybe 270 V right, which are unbelievably high numbers for this type of a game, right? And what we see coming out of a lot of cards. So he's going to hit really, really well. The thing is, his on base isn't really going to be much higher than his average. That's kind of the downside of this card right here, is that his on base V right is only 290. V left, it's 320, but 320 still doesn't really blow you out of the water. His slugging is actually pretty good because he's got decent speed and good gap and okay power, right? The power isn't anything to sneeze at. So this is really, really interesting to me. I think this is going to be the new meta third baseman. That would be my hot take on it. The question is whether this is somebody you have to platoon or not. You know, do you play this card with Boggs and you maybe rotate Boggs between first base and third base? I don't know. That was really my comparison for this card was Boggs, and this card is, in my opinion, a lot better V left, but a lot worse V right. So maybe you platoon him. I'm not sure.
So given that we know we're not going to get a ton of walks out of this card, if we want to be walking away with a pretty solid OPS, we're going to need a really big average. And so can this card approach 300 on the same side? I'm going to say probably very unlikely. Your model has it at 257. And so if same side, his on-base percentage is around or even, dare I say, under 300, I'm going to lose a lot of excitement about this card. Even though we will still have the 99 BABIP. It's just you're not going to have enough contact to tap into it enough to be excited about it. Now, on the offside versus left, which as a right-handed batter, even when platooned on short side plate appearances or short side starting pitchers only, you just don't get as many of those plate appearances as you like to receive. So I get a whole lot less excited if this card isn't a difference maker both ways, or at least a league average bat versus right, and then heavy excess versus left. So I think I was super excited about this card the first second I saw it. After your model spit out the number that it had, I lost a little bit of my luster here. If the same side observed statistics are going to be in the realm of that one, even though your slug plus OBP isn't going to be a huge downer, it's just not going to be a difference maker.
Yeah, the question is whether you can play this card same side, and the more I look at it, the less I think it's a full-time card. Now, this card is rocking 98 BABIP same side. That compares pretty much only to like Tony Gwynn, who has 95 opposite side, right? So maybe this card just hits way better than my projections. I don't really have another card like this gathering data in Perfect League, so I'll have you'll have to see. Quanta is saying Cal is better V left. I can pull that up. And
so while you're doing that, let's look at our similarity score table. We've got Clemente as our number one comp there, and Clemente's performing really well in the small sample that he's getting within Perfect League. Now, his versus right is not competitive enough to stick around. His defense is not enough to prioritize him over others. But if we look at that versus left profile, he's got a PAL OPS over 800. And as we compare him to Knapp here, Knapp's going to be bringing more contact, more eye, less power, which is going to help his BABIP, and then slightly less on the avoid K front. So I think that you could see something in that neighborhood, which would be an excellent turn of events and would put him among the best hitters in the game versus left-hand pitching.
Absolutely. I think he is one of the best hitters in the game versus left-handed pitching. I just ran the numbers versus Cal. I think he blows Cal out of the water. I don't even think it's close.
That's your love of BABIP talking right there, though.
No, but it's not even the average. The average is 31 points higher, but I have the on-base higher, and I have the on-base plus slugging higher. The slugging is actually dead even. So I think that his defense is a little bit worse, but to the point where at third base, it's going to be more than comfortable playing him. So I think this card is certainly meta in righty cheese. I think he's certainly meta playing opposite side. The question is, do you play him same side or not?
Yeah, so let's talk about who would be displaced in the middle infield. And maybe first we need to say, is this bat good enough to displace your Robin Yount or Pop Lloyd or whoever you currently have serving your needs at second base, assuming you're not doing like a Jackie or a Hornsby today?
Probably. I think this card is good enough hitter that at least V right or V left, sorry, you can consider him as a second baseman. I think it needs to be in the picture, and probably that's where observed stats takes over because I don't do like WAR or defensive expectancy and stuff. And then we see how this works. I think this card is certainly better than Cap, Jesse, in righty cheese. That would be my take on it.
Yeah, so let's see. Brooks Robinson's a new card. It's not going to hit as well as this one, I wouldn't anticipate, but it's going to play a lot better defense. Cal can't hit versus right, whereas this one actually would have a chance to, and some would argue that Cal doesn't hit much versus left. I think he's an absolutely interesting addition to the meta here because you kind of have an in-between option now. So whereas before you were having to choose, do I go glove or bat? And then if you go bat, you're going Jackie or Hornsby. And if you go glove, then you're going Brooks Robinson, Cal, Pop, Appling, Rabbit Marinville, Mark Belanger, Ozzie Smith, who knows. And I think this is kind of a split the difference type card. Range of 98, which is going to be less than those glove first players, but significantly better than Jackie's 92, I believe he has, and significantly better than Hornsby's 86 from a range perspective. So this one kind of feels to me that if the bat proves to be meaningfully better than those other middle infield cards, this is going to give you kind of that mid-range option if you kind of want to split the difference between going glove or bat.
Yep. Absolutely. I think that's a really good way to look at this card.
Oh, you're too kind. Let's move on. Oh, wait a minute. Before we go, it's Kidney's favorite card.
Yeah, can I just get some BAPIP spam in the chat? And I think that will cover why I like this card so much. BAPIP and defense are my specialities. So very shocking, I know, Tech.
We should have guessed that.
Yeah, I mean, he's got BAPIP, he's got defense, he's not a bad base runner. I do want to note on before we leave this card, he's actually a fly ball hitter, and the problem with a lot of the high BAPIP profiles is a lot of the time they're ground ball hitters, and they're just a double play machine. And this card will not be that, I think, between his base running and speed and between the fly ball tendency. So I think that's another bonus for this card.
Awesome. And it sounds like Tech 15 is already deploying Knapp at second base in perfect. So we're going to get some stats and we'll be able to take another peek at this on Sunday and see what those early returns are. Next card, Barry Bonds. Big card here. Look at the power. Look at the eye. I'm looking for my notes right now. What do we think about this card here? From a base running perspective, it's probably going to be it's better than neutral, but not going to overwhelm you with his ability to steal bases or add value on the bases. Defensively, better range than, say, Ty Cobb or Hank Aaron, but worse than Tris Speaker, who might be the one that he's competing with most for a role as a platoon side bat versus right. But what I find very interesting about this card, and I'm going to go ahead and get right to the expected perfect league slash, is just the expected on-base percentage of this card. We've got a very strong number versus right and a very meaningfully strong number versus left. We do not have many cards, if any, in this game putting up this type of on-base percentage versus left. And so if Barry Bonds is able to achieve that level versus left, which, maybe that number needs to be scrutinized some here, but if that's able to be teased out, then this could be a much more interesting bat. Say you're running lefty cheese, and for your home games, you don't want to have to put Tris Speaker on the bench and start out a Ricky Henderson or a Hank Aaron or a Joe DiMaggio, and you want to go ahead and stay with the strong side, stay with the lefty, and run right into left on left with Bonds there. And so that's where I see this card potentially being interesting if our observed stats line up with that, and he, despite a low batting average, is able to log a pretty significant on base percentage, and then a slugging percentage, which is going to play up in that deployment methodology.
Yeah, the thing is, the on base is very good, right? But in my model, the on base is worse than Juan and Ted. The issue with Juan and Ted, though, is they don't really play defense at all. And this card could actually be playable in left field with 86 range. I think he's absolutely better than Babe. I think that Juan and Ted are really your best bat comparisons because they do have the crazy high eye. I think more so Ted, though Juan also kind of hits both sides, which this card does a little bit. I think Juan's probably a little bit better V left as a lefty. So this card's really interesting to me. Does he push Speaker out? Is really going to have to be something that's been determined. I mean, Speaker is another Roger Connor-like card that because of the high avoid Ks, it's just been so consistent. And to use the analogy before, just staring down the army in Game of Thrones, right? So I would be very hesitant to call this better than Speaker, but I think it's definitely an option instead of Speaker, and they're kind of on the same playing field, in my opinion.
Yeah, as I'm running, and I currently do run the lefty cheese, as I'm running that and facing lefty starters at home, I'm faced with that decision of do I run out Speaker and his sub 300 OBP versus left to take advantage of my park factors, or do I get Hank Aaron out there and really play into the weakness of Tom Glavine or David Price or Chris Sale or whoever the lefty starter is that's coming in. And if this card proves to be able to be a VL weapon, I think that's a welcome addition to the meta, a welcome option for owners to decide. Do you want to go, as API saying in the chat, and stick with his Speaker and Connor, or do you want to mix it up a bit and get Barry Bonds into the mix there and maybe go with an additional same side bat to take advantage of your home park? One thing that we've noticed is of the two distinct metas that we see run, lefty cheese and righty cheese, you're way more able to run out same side bats in righty cheese than you are in lefty. You see righty cheese teams at home stocking their lineup with 7 right-handed batters and not batting an eye. Give me 7 right-handed batters and Cobb and Gwynn, and I'm going to win somewhere between 80 and 95 games. Now, if you did that same thing with lefty, you would not like the outcome because the lefties are going to get really thrashed. Now, Bonds can be a counter to that, or Bonds can be part of a strategy that allows you to employ a strategy that much more closely resembles what people do with righty cheese. I think it's a good addition for the game and provides more choice and more nuance, and I'd welcome that.
Yeah, and I think what you're going to see develop is you're going to develop 2 different lefty cheese builds. You're going to have the lefty cheese that runs the high power, and they're going to max the power in the park, and you're going to have the lefty cheese that runs the lower power with cards like Speaker and Connor, which aren't low power, but they're lower, right? And they could even just min the power in their park and use that to another advantage. So I think there's going to be some diverse strategies that come out from this card and Gehrig being in the meta now. And so I'm really interested to see how this works.
Joe, the Jester 90 asking, what makes Roger Connor a top play? And if you look at his backup card numbers, he's got over 100 contact, over 100 avoid, and then I want to say his power is in like the low 90s, maybe high 80s, in addition to a good eye. So he's got a plus contact, plus avoid, good eye, and then the BABIP profile is allowing it all to play together in a harmony that just makes his versus right profile really difficult to unseat, and it's been that way since the beginning of this cycle.
Yeah, I mean, Connor having the 100 plus avoid K V right, or I'm sorry, whatever his avoid K is V right is really high, right? So it's like him and Boggs are kind of in a league of their own with avoid K, and just not striking out allows you to walk. It allows you to get hits. So it's so important for how a card lines up against pitching. And that's really what's made Connor stand the test of time.
Yeah, if I look at my data real quick here, of first base players, we've got Roger Connor with a 356 OBP that he's logging at first base. Very tough to beat that. I don't think anyone in this sample. Ty Cobb's at 361, Wade Boggs at 369. So Boggs can play first base, Cobb can't. So that's really what keeps Roger Connor up where he is 280 average, which stands out at the position, and then the high on base percentage as well. Whereas bats like George Brett or Stan Musial, you're trading that OBP in exchange for slug. All right, that is the content set. So those are the 5 cards. We really covered a lot of ground in talking about them, talking about where they might fit into the complicated meta. And I think the exciting thing here is we didn't necessarily get one that immediately becomes a better mousetrap and says, okay, this is your new left fielder. Everybody run and get Bonds. Or this finally, once and for all, kills off Roger Connor. Gehrig is the only option at first. We didn't get that. But we got cards that, depending on how observed statistics go, depending on how these guys do at the very top level, it's going to determine really where they belong and where they don't belong. And I'm eager to see Knapp and the statistics he's generating. Bonds, probably my second level of interest here. I have a high degree of confidence that Suter is going to fit in just fine as a right-handed reliever. And then Gehrig, I'm following maybe less intently than I am the Knapp and Bonds stats.
I think that's fair. I'm actually really curious how Vandermeer does in a low level and whether that can translate to Diamond or not. I'm not like super confident it's going to, but I think there's a small chance.
Yeah, why not? You know, you're going to find a Vandermeer that ends up with a season ERA under 2 and a strikeout per 9 at 17 in a small sample. And you're going to find another Vandermeer that is on the verge of being quick sold because they are walking the world and giving up too much contact, more than their backup card would suggest that they do, and just getting crushed. All right, let's see if there's any residual questions in the chat that we missed to this point. Keep Yount or sell him. Yount's a good card, arguably in that mix versus left for second base and utility player. Backup, let's see. I thought I increases walks. Kidneys, you're my order of operations guy. Why don't you talk to us about the relationship between backup card I and what we see on the field?
I did say that K increases walks, and you're correct. I increases walks, not K.
Perfect.
I comes before strikeouts, so it doesn't matter. K increases balls in play, as Erie GM put it. Yes.
All right, perfect. Let's move on. So what's next? We've got our 7th inning stretch. And each stream during our 7th inning stretch, we play everyone's favorite game show, OK Boomer, OK Zoomer, where we show Kidneys, a gentleman born in 1999, something from the 90s, and he has to try to recognize it. And then he will show me a Zoomer meme from today, and I will do my best to make sense of it. So first, who is this movie star from the 90s? She starred in the movie Clueless and was just about the biggest movie star going for a very short period of time, and then not so much.
No idea.
Why, this is none other than Alicia Silverstone. And I don't know that there was another big movie after Clueless, but Clueless was about nuclear white hot in terms of popularity.
Never heard of her.
0 for 1. Next, who is this? This pop singer really came onto the scene within the 90s and then probably dominated most appropriately the early 2000s.
Nope.
Oh, you know this one. You know this one? No?
I will probably know it when you say it, but I have no idea who they are by their face.
Not Christina Aguilera, but...
No. I know Christina Aguilera. This is not her.
So this is Britney Spears.
Oh, my brother will be very disappointed in me. He loves Britney Spears.
Hit me, Kidneys, one more time.
Yes, sir.
All right.
And like Walnut, she's very toxic.
Last, and this is a bonus. If you can get any of these 3 actors, I will give you credit for the question. This is from Saved by the Bell. This was your main character and his 2 sidekicks. Name any of these actors here. One of them is still in the spotlight today. I think he works at E! He did the Thanksgiving Day parade narration.
No clue.
Oh,
Didn't watch
man.
that.
Man, another 0 for 3. I thought this was going to be easier this week.
I am bad with people. You have found my weakness.
So from left to right, we've got Mark Paul Gosselaar, Dustin Diamond, and Mario Lopez.
I know Mario Lopez, yes. The others I do not know.
Oh, man. 0 for 3. Hate to see it. It's time for the Zoomer meme of today. Let's take a peek at what is on the other side of this click. So we've got an Uno card that says, release SE Ozzy, release my Builda Ozzy, or draw 25. And there's Chris with a fistful of cards, a fistful of Uno cards, refusing to release the Ozzy. So I have seen this meme, and I mean that's what we're doing here. It's an Uno meme, and you know, the facial expression here is reluctance to put up with it and willingness to draw however many cards needed. So, aside from that, what am I missing on this Zoomer meme here?
That's pretty much it. Do you know the origin of said meme?
I do not.
The origin of said meme is they were doing a game of Uno, and somebody on Facebook posted. He wrote down on the card, the original text was call text your recent ex or draw 25, and you see the man with 25 cards in his hand.
Oh, that's
interested
delightful.
in that own full call. So it's beautiful. But yeah.
So do you think that we ever get our SE Ozzy from Chris?
Not this year. I think didn't we have one in 2020? Not in 2019, I mean, for Out of the Park 20. I think we could probably hit one next year for sure. Yeah, there was in 20. Yeah, that's what I thought. So,
all right. So that concludes another edition of OK Boomer, OK Zoomer. We had Kidneys going 0 for 3, and then me getting at least partial credit on the Zoomer meme, which means we've got a 3-week win streak that we will attempt to make 4 as we come back next week.
I'm just saying, when Swecky's back, you're not winning anymore. That's all I have to say. My artist is currently in hiding, so when he returns on his noble quest, we will destroy DRC with more glorious face swaps. So
I would not bet on that, but I am eager to see the challenge. Okay, so we just opened up the Perfect Point giveaway. We're going to give away 30,000 perfect points tonight. We're going to do so by randomly selecting 3 lucky winners and drawing them at random. All you need to do to be in the drawing is type !ticket into the chat, and then you'll see a little confirmation there. The confirmations are moving so fast that you can barely see them. And once we let that run for a couple minutes, we'll draw our 3 winners. And the way to redeem those points is, if you're a winner, I need you to DM me on Discord with your Perfect Team username. And you've got to have the correct capitalization so that those points get routed correctly and you'll have your points by morning. Looks like the confirmation messages have dried up. Oh, but the tickets are still rolling in. So even those people that it doesn't say you're getting a ticket, you are getting a ticket. We're all the way up to 129 people, 130 people registered already. We'll let that run for another minute as we set up this segment here. So this next segment is DRC and Kidneys responding to hot perfect team takes. So we asked the community to draw some lines in the sand. Tell us something that you believe to be true about this game, and we'll talk about it. We'll see if we agree. We'll see if you're dead wrong. We'll see if maybe you've stumbled onto a random little bit of brilliance that we need to steal and share with the community. But before we do that, let's draw some winners. So 3 seconds left to get in their ! Ticket. 3, 2, and 1. First winner tonight is Red Eclipse HS. Next, Zintali. And last but not least, Aaron Muller 44. Congrats, guys. You guys are our winners tonight. DM me on the Discord, and we will get you those perfect points as soon as we can. Congrats to our winners. All right, so let's jump in. Our first steaming hot take of the night comes from Walnut 33. And this take is that 100 Vlad Shouldn't that say 102? That must be a typo. 100 Vlad is the best 40k card in the game. And I gotta be honest, as I was trying to decide if I agreed or didn't agree with Walnut, I didn't have a ton of experience to go on. It's been a long time since I was in that price range of a card, since I was building cards for my team. I don't have any alt teams, so my main team, the one that is stuck in DLL forever and will never escape, probably end up in gold before it ends up in perfect again. That team is built, so I haven't really been shopping in this price range in a while, so I didn't really know what to go off of. So I visited the auction house and I looked for a card under 40,000 perfect points that was better. And you know what? I couldn't find one. So I'm giving Walnut, and I'm giving this hot take a fact rating. What say you, Kidneys?
I think you need to look a little harder. We have 3 cards I'm going to nominate for way better than 102 Vladimir Guerrero. They are Kirby Puckett is now a 40k card, as I'm looking on the auction house at the moment. We have Yogi Berra is 100 SE overall. And we have the glorious API's best pitcher in Perfect League, 99 SE Maddox. So I'm going with Fiction. I do not believe, as actually close to being as good as he can be for sub 40k, I do not believe that 100 Vlad is the best 40k card, though albeit he is a pretty good one.
Sorry, Walnut. I tried. I gave you as much due as I could here, but looks like Kidneys is going to override us on this one because he hates fun and he hates Vlad. Next, we've got a hot take from Marksman13. And the hot take here is that Price is better than Spawn in Lefty Cheese. And so what he means here is face of the franchise, David Price, better than face of the franchise, Warren Spawn, when you are yourself running a lefty cheese build, which means you've got your home stadium maxed out for contact and home runs for lefty batters and minned out for righty batters. Kidneys, you're batting leadoff on this one. Fact or fiction that Price is better than Spawn in lefty cheese?
I'm just going to quote some anecdotal statistics, as I heard that beautiful term the other day for you. That Warren Spawn right now for me, I play lefty cheese in DLL, has an ERA of 3.86. That's pretty great in DLL, right? As a starting pitcher. It's pretty respectable. David Price right now in DLL, same number of starts, has an ERA of 7.71.
Ooh.
And I am running nerfed home runs across the board. So I'm going with very heavily fiction. No.
Wow. So placing the fiction label on it. Now, to be clear, are we talking about your team or are we talking about league-wide?
Just in general, he doesn't hold up by my metrics. I mean, that's just me. I was looking at my team today and I was like, wow, that's pretty sad. So.
Okay, so dropping some stats from the DLL, bottom of the 6th, asking what DLL is. DLL is a friends list league that is in Diamond and has some of the more accomplished and more well-constructed teams. And via the friends list functionality in Out of the Park Perfect Team, elect to play together each week, creating what could arguably be the toughest Diamond League around. Very difficult to get up from, as I have been trapped there for the past 8 weeks and cannot escape. So now, my take on this one here, and I honestly, I did want to give it its due, because I have recently been thinking more and more about in lefty cheese, when someone's running lefties against your lefties, you really want to minimize contact. And Spawn will do a worse job of that than Price. So I thought there could be some validity to it. So I went to my data, and I've been running lefty cheese just about every season for the past 20, maybe 25. And I compared my Spawn numbers to my Price numbers. And I've had Spawn as a set it and forget it starter most of those seasons. And I've had Price as a starter sometimes, as a reliever sometimes, opener sometimes, follower sometimes. So he's moved around more. But needless to say, he would have had an easier role type on the whole than Spawn, who is more of a set it and forget it starter. And in my stats, which include my road games and then all of my lefty cheese home games, Spawn did have a better ERA, 3.77 versus Price's 4.05. So I am joining Kidneys and calling this one fiction. Quanta Condor taking spawn every time. What else do we got in the chat? Price underrated in lefties. Yes, absolutely. Bailey out of the park calling it Diamond League losers. Well, I'm definitely a Diamond League loser. When you're talking about my team.
I'm also a Diamond League loser.
Yeah, my team is definitely a Diamond League loser. All right, next hot take we have comes from Marksman as well, doubling up here, saying that New Honus is the best second baseman versus left. And I say, heck yeah. I love that card. I want that card. I've been searching for that card ever since it dropped. Now that my reasoning and my rationale is that the old Honus is not bad. The old Honus actually produced a decent OPS. Now, he did so in a way that people don't love. He's a high strikeout guy, and he has some really, really cold streaks. But with those cold streaks, they're balanced by incredible hot streaks. And if you're getting a bat that can carry your team out of someone out there, mostly for defense, that's a win in my book. And combine his solid defense, his potentially and at times nuclear bat with elite level BSR and value on the bases, and he's the guy that I want, and I will continue to look for him. My only hesitation in this declaration here is Brooks Robinson, but because I'm so amped up about this new Honus card, I just looked aside and said, forget about it. What do you say, Kidneys?
Brooks Robinson, A. Huey Jennings, B.
Oh, get Huey out of here.
Huey Jennings is
get out of you. Get out of here. Huey Jennings
Absolutely.
has not been a thing in a very long time.
Huey Jennings plays great for me in a lefty park, by the way. Cal Ripken, I would take over him. I would take Knapp at second base over him. I am not a fan of this Honus card. I don't think it hits at all.
Wow. I can't believe everything that I'm hearing right now. Cal Ripken, who you hate and you spew more venom about than any other right-handed batter on these streams. Huey Jennings, who doesn't even play in Perfect League anymore because no one uses him. Like, I don't even know what to say to you right now. I feel like we are just so disconnected, and I will put up your fiction and be hurt. All right.
Huey's a good card, man. More people need to play Huey.
Yeah, like if you want to say Knapp, that's not something that we could have said before the stream tonight. So let's set Knapp aside. That Knapp could very well be your answer there, and maybe I don't long for Honus anymore and search for him anymore. But, before Knapp was a thing, I think Honus was your guy.
I think Brooks absolutely takes Honus out back, and it's not even a competition between the two.
All right, enough blasphemy. Let's move on. You're going first on this one, and this one comes from API. And API is arguing that a run in the 9th inning is more important, is greater than a run in the 1st inning. What say you?
Well, I'm going to do some math here. And when I do 1 and then I minus 1, it equals 0. So I'm really confused why a run in the 9th is based on more than a run in the 1st. If you tell me that I score 10 runs in the 1st versus scoring 9 runs in the 9th, and I don't win more games that I scored the first time around, I'd be very interested to see that statistic. The leverage is greater, but the worth is the same. See, I don't think the leverage is greater. I think people look at the fancy WPA graphs and they get all hyped up when they see it going up and down really great in the late innings. I don't think it's even close. I would take the 10 runs over the 9 runs every day of the week because it's one more run. You can run that on a calculator, by the way, Mr. API.
So just to be clear and make sure we didn't lose anyone, your assertion here is that 1 minus 1 equals 0?
Yes, or that 10 minus 9 equals 1, and that 10 is greater than 9.
Katie's got me in the chat. After I said assertion, I was like, what? Something was wrong there. It's assertion. All right. My side of this argument. So, when API first said this, I had that head-scratching moment too. And I also broke out my TI-83 graphing calculator and typed in 1 minus 1 and came to that same answer you did. But then I started thinking about win probability and the impacts of a run scored in the 9th versus one scored in the 1st. And let's say you're in a 0-0 game and you score a run on a leadoff home run, your win probability jumps from 50 to, I don't know, 57. Whereas if you're in a 0-0 game and you hit a solo shot in the ninth, your win probability is going to jump to 75 if you're the away team. It's going to jump to 100 if you're the home team. So for that reason, and because every time I try to disagree with API and go against something he says, I end up looking like a fool, I'm calling this one fact. I will offer the disclaimer that that same level of argument of comparing my 0-0 scenarios in the first and ninth inning, maybe it cuts both ways. Where in a 5-0 game, adding your first run in the first will give you a bigger boost than that same scenario in the ninth. And so maybe it all nets out in the end. I don't know, but I'm not prepared to disagree with API and end up with more egg on my face.
I'm just going to say before this closes, Mango Sandwich nails it in the chat. The reason why I'm so adamant about this not being a thing is too often people go, oh, but it's 24 outs versus 3 outs, as Pidge said. But the issue is, if you're still in a tie game in the ninth and your run matters, like you've been in a 0-0 game, you've already got the opponent out 24 times. You've already done that. There is nothing to add to it. You've already done that. It's the same thing as you scored a run in the first and then you got 24 outs. So it doesn't matter. It's complete fiction.
Next hot take. We've got this one coming from BJam, the manager of the Elysian Fields 9. And he says that the pull side outfielder, and so by pull side, we're talking about, say you have a right-handed batter up, that would be your left fielder. The pull side outfielder is the third most important defender. Now, who's going first on this one? I'm going first, and I'm going fiction. I wanted to give this argument life. I wanted to breathe an opportunity for it to win me over, but even after seeing some early stats, I just couldn't get past it being any higher than shortstop, second base, or center field. So at most, we're talking about fourth here. What about you?
See, I would actually put this fifth, because I would do shortstop, catcher, center field, second base. Maybe not in that order, but as Katie said in the chat, that is absolutely how it works. And I know...
Now, to be clear, he did clarify that catcher was not on the table in that debate.
Okay, so catcher not on the table, but still, I would put it below shortstop, center field, second base for sure.
Yeah, that's where I ended up. So you and I both end up on fiction here. There was some interesting data shared, and that was part of the conversation that was going on in the DRC Twitch Discord earlier today. If you guys want to jump in there and check it out. But I couldn't get on board with it, and so I'm calling this one fiction as well. Next, we've got another blasphemous hot take here. This one coming from Kazami Yukarin, saying, and I do appreciate the question mark on the end of this, but saying kidneys is cooler than DRC. You get to bet leadoff on this one.
I have more hair. That's all I'm going to say on the subject.
That one cuts a little too close to the quick there, my friend. So I thought a lot about this one. And first off, you go buy your kidneys, which is a fun little play on a kill feed of a first-person shooter. So I'll give you a little nod there. That's cooler than DRC. And then the hair, you beat me to the punch there, but you have the choice to be bald. You have the choice to keep it high and tight, whereas I was born into this. And the memes. You bring hot fire with your memes every week, and I bring you pictures of people from movies you've never seen. So I think you win all of those. And so I am agreeing with Kazami. I am agreeing with you. Kidneys is indeed cooler than DRC. Next, another one from Kazami Euchre, and this one says Raleigh Fingers does not need 5 cards. And you know what? She's right. She is 100%. She might even be 110% right. We've got an iron Raleigh, a bronze Raleigh, another bronze Raleigh, a gold SE Raleigh, and a diamond Raleigh. But we don't have a silver Raleigh, and we don't have a perfect Raleigh. We need 7 Raleigh fingers in this game. So she is absolutely right. Raleigh does not need 5 cards in this game. He needs 6 at least, and probably 7. What say you?
Absolutely. So my take is fiction because this is wrong. He does not need 5 cards. He needs 7 cards. So I think this is completely true. He's a Hall of Famer, an MVP winner, a Cy Young winner, a 3 times World Series winner. The fact that this guy does not have 6 cards, 1 for each kind, maybe 7 or 8 in this game is absolutely ridiculous. Raleigh Fingers is a legend.
I'm really appreciative that Kazami Yukarin is giving this big and key issue the light and attention that it deserves. And I feel like it's been underreported. It's been underrepresented, and I'm so glad that we were able to get to it here on this stream because we really need to be pushing this as one of our highest, if not the highest priorities as we look to 22. All right, next one, and we've got 2 takes left. And these final 2 takes are coming from Kidneys, and they're coming from me. This first one's coming from Kidneys, and it says, pay to win is too expensive, and at the same time, free to play is too easy. You're going to need to walk us through that one. We already know you believe it to be fact. Now explain what this very deep thought with Jack Handy here means.
Yep. So a lot of people in chat are going, what? That's crazy. I think the fact that you have to put in probably a few thousand at the minimum to be an endgame player, and that you don't actually get that big of an advantage over a really experienced free-to-play player. Someone like JM, someone like Quanta, even people I know are completing Face of the Franchise, I think, on like all 3 teams free to play. I think it's far too obtainable right now, and I don't think there's a competitive edge given. That said, I also think the buy-in price for being pay to win is way too high compared to similar games, having just started playing similar games myself. So I would like to see that come down so that being pay to win is more obtainable. But at the same time, don't give free-to-play players all the cards at the beginning.
So you're drawing quite the distinction here. I'm going to try to unpack it for those that are trying to piece it together in the chat as well as myself. So your assertion, not assertion or whatever I said earlier, your assertion here is that if you just want to approach this game with your credit card, it costs too much money to compete. However, if you come to this game with auction house strategy and time and energy and attention, and you do it the optimal way that a free-to-play player can, that they get to where they need to go too easily. Both of those two things are true at the same time?
Yep, absolutely. And I know people are saying, pay to win is willing to pay. Bailey puts for what cards. People ask for cards. I was thinking about this. I think you could actually put a hard cap on how much a card can sell for. Like just overall, make it 5 million, make it 10 million, whatever. But if you do that, you set the rest of the market from the top down. And so I think that would be the solution for them there.
It's an interesting opinion. Until hearing you articulate it, I didn't really know what to expect coming into this. So I labeled it as fiction, but I think it's an interesting take that 2 things can be true at the same time from each perspective, which you would think intuitively that one of these 2 can't be true. But I think as you spelled it out here, you have a very interesting take on it. All right, last and not least for the evening, you've got my hot take here. And my hot take is that it's easier to make the playoffs in Perfect League than it is in DLL. And I'm bringing receipts. So my last 16 seasons for my lovely DRC Nomads, my Naperville Nomads, my once proud Perfect League champion Nomads, my last 16 seasons are split right down the middle. 8 weeks of Perfect League, 8 weeks of DLL. My 8 weeks of Perfect League included 7 playoff trips, 1 Perfect League championship, and then 1 week where I ended up with 84 wins and missed the playoffs. The 8 weeks following that in DLL, I made the playoffs 4 of 8 weeks. I have 0 championships and a lot of rage. So I am arguing, based on my anecdotal experience here, that it's easier to make the playoffs in Perfect League than it is in DLL.
Absolutely. I think this is pretty factual. Unless your name is API, people coming from Perfect League to DLL have gone straight to Gold League so many times. We are kind of a powerhouse, and I think it also has to do what you deal with playoff picture. The playoff picture is 16 out of 40 teams, right? In Perfect League, it is far more easy to make Perfect League just numbers wise in that kind of an environment. And maybe the level of micro isn't as heavy as they are in something like DLL, but DLL has all the cards. They have the powerhouse. We had at 1.7 Wade Boggses to Perfect League's 3. I think it's just straight up fact that DLL is harder than Perfect League at this point.
And if we look just at the numbers, Perfect League has 40 teams, and they have 16 playoff spots. So someone who can simplify fractions quickly, go ahead and give me the percentage there. What is that, 40%? 30? I don't know. I won't do it on air here. Now, DLL...
25%.
25. Boom. Now, DLL is a 30-team league, of which 10 make the playoffs, but 4 of those 10 are in the playoffs so far as one game. And they have one game to prove themselves and then move on to a short series where they are going to be strapped from a pitching perspective and going to be on the road. So just mathematically, there's less spots to go around. And then as far as how DLL deviates from a normal Diamond League, you don't have the pretenders to beat up on. You don't have those teams that are going to lose 100 games and guarantee you your own 100 win season in Diamond and get you into the playoffs every week. It's been a heck of a grind, and it's not looking good for me this week. I think I'm 3 or 4 games over 500. So this was really just the DRC Nomads pity party that I'm bringing to you guys here, because I have not been good enough to win in the DLL for the past 8 weeks, and it's driving me bananas. And I'm doing my best to get back into Perfect, and it's just not going well. So a double fact on this final hot take. Any hot takes in the chat that people want us to entertain rather quickly here? Bottom of the 6 asking, how is DLL any different than a different Diamond League? Are there restrictions on what cards you can have and can not have? No. The restrictions in DLL is just don't be a jerk, more or less. But it's not like BFF where it's free to play and you're restricted in terms of what you can do with certain cards when you pack them. It's just a friends league of a lot of the teams that have been competing at a high level in this game for the vast majority of this calendar year.
Basically, the only rule in DLL is you just have to take punches in stride and be willing to joke around with other people. And if you can do that, you're cool. That's about it.
Yeah, I took a punch in stride this morning as I put the finishing touches on a 10-game home losing streak. 10 game. How do you even do that? How do you lose 10 straight games at home?
I've probably done it multiple times. It's a rough ride this year for me.
But Fabic is reporting with a hot news update in the chat that I have a 7-game win streak going, which is great, which tells me I need to do more stream prep and streaming, because not touching my team appears to be correlated with actually winning.
That's how stats work.
Another question that was in the chat a couple times tonight, Whale King asked it, Zozu's asked it, to talk about Diamond Packs. So Diamond Packs are available again, and they've gone from being 15,000 perfect points to 10. So from a pack ROI perspective, have they crossed the EV threshold to be something that we recommend over standard packs? And I can't say that I've already done the analysis and I can speak from an informed perspective. However, just looking at it from a high level, if you walk into a diamond pack, you know you're getting a 4,000 perfect point quick sell, regardless of what the other 5 cards are, regardless of if you're getting a historic diamond, which is going to have a higher resale value. I would imagine the average historic diamond is, and Pidge is probably in the chat, he could probably give much better information on this than I could. But I think that it was an absolutely meaningful shift within the the pack ROI, and I did pick up a couple diamond packs myself. Not because I thought it was the prudent thing to do from an investment perspective, but because I thought, why not? I don't think it's a horrible ROI at this point in time. What do you think, Kidneys?
It's very close. I just ran some really basic math on what I was told this morning when this came out, that the average historical diamond was worth like 23K on average by somebody. And then you take just the 4K, which some of the live diamonds are worth more. Like Scherzer is going to be worth a ton right now because of all the missions he's in, and another one tonight. But you just take the 4K and it's 75% of the time, and then you take the 23K and it's 25% of the time, and it comes out to like almost 9 out of the 10K. So I think it's more than reasonable to go for diamond packs now. I still would avoid the historical packs. I don't think they're really close to being valuable. But I think diamond packs, like if you're pulling a ton of packs and you want to save yourself some time, I think it's pretty fair to go with diamond packs right now, actually.
And I would echo your sentiment to avoid the historic packs. I mean, historic golds, like a random historic gold's probably only going to be 1,500 perfect points, 1,800 perfect points. So I don't see the value being quite there for that, even though we have a lot of golds that are now worth a lot with the recent golds that have been released and the recent missions that have been released. I still would avoid the historic packs. So I'd either be no packs, maybe no packs is the smartest thing to do, and then in some order, diamond packs and regular packs, depending on what type of fun you want to have and how many perfect points you have to throw around to do it. Pidge is in the chat saying diamond packs still under 80% ROI, but better than any ROI we've seen in the past for those packs. So you heard it here first, folks. All right, I think we should go ahead and wrap this up here. That's the end of our presentation. Be sure you join us next week for episode 16, which will be same time, same place, right back here. Be sure to join me on Sunday as we crown another Perfect League champion. Maybe we will have the Manchego cheese in the Perfect League World Series again. Maybe we'll have Chuck's Trash Pandas. Definitely be on the lookout for that. And then come Tuesday, don't miss, wait till next year's close-up. We can definitively and finally find out, why not a 79? The question that we've been thinking about for months now. Kidneys, any closing thoughts from you before we wrap up tonight?
Just a note on the packs. I think he was saying that diamond packs are better than normal packs, because he said then he followed it up with normal is just a hair over 40% return of interest.
Oh boy.
So I think the word from the bird himself is that diamond packs are where it's at. So
word
that's
from
the
the
deal
bird.
now. Yep, he's just clarified diamond packs better than normal. So you heard it here. So obviously normal packs, there's a lot of good free ones you can get from drops and stuff, but the word from the bird, and I think my rough math as well, is definitely go for, I think, the diamond packs now.
Awesome. Well, Kidneys, thanks so much for being with us tonight. For everyone within the chat, thank you a ton. Let's quickly call out some of our supporters. We had Walnut getting nutty tonight with 20 gifted subs within the chat. Thank you so much for that. We had Mac Jax dropping a 10 subscription gift bomb as well. Chuck did 5 himself. So thank you guys so much for all of that support. From a bit perspective, we had Crash, SF Giants, API, and then a host of others that I can't read on my screen anymore at this point for some reason. But thanks for everyone for subscribing, for supporting the stream. We love doing these shows for you. We love interacting with you in the chat. We love getting your hot takes and going through them. That was definitely a fun segment that we'll have to do at some point again in the future. But until next time, it's Kidneys and DRC signing off.